Hello, hello. This is just a random little, I don't know, brain share, I guess we can call it. I've realized that how I view being a psychic now has changed, and instead of kind of having found this hidden room in which there's additional information that I was not privy to before I started exploring these abilities, instead of viewing it that way, I've begun to view it as kind of this opportunity for higher learning. Like, it's there for everyone. It's just, instead of going to the top floor of a house, you have to climb up to the attic of the house. So I've started looking at my abilities as an opportunity for higher learning, almost like an Easter egg in a video game, like how there's certain little like hidden rooms, but you don't even know that it's there, and then once you find it, you realize it's there, and there's just like a whole other thing. Anyway, so I started looking at my gifts more like that, and since I've started, and it's not that I'm doing anything different, it's just that that's the perspective that I'm viewing it from, and it's allowing me to pick up on additional ways to share certain things or teach, I guess, because I'm looking at it in the way that I'm trying to do that now, if that makes sense. So anyway, what I wanted to share with you was, one of the weirdest things about being able to read energy, for me particularly, is driving in the car, because I can pick up on other people's energy that's going on in their car if said energy is directed at me. This leads me to this kind of, stick with me for the story. It's going somewhere, I promise. So on the nights that my son goes to his father's, I drop him off at his father's work, and then I go straight to the gym most of the time, because if I go home first, it's just, I don't end up going. So I go straight there. There is this, I'm trying to explain this correctly. There's this intersection on the way from his work to the gym, and it's like a circle, right? And then I'm trying to explain this in a way that helps it make sense. You can either, so there's the circle, and after the circle, you can either go around the circle or you can go straight through the circle. After the circle, there is this really short section before the lanes either merge or you have to get on the highway. So circle, and then all of the people from the circle have to merge into one lane, right? So you can either go in the left lane and you go straight, or you go in the right lane and you get on the highway. Not a lot of people get on the highway right there. Most people go down the right lane real fast and cut into the left lane. Like everyone, all the time. It's a thing, right? So people that frequent this area in this left lane just expect that they're going to be cut off by the person in this right lane. I promise this is going somewhere, just wait. So I've realized, because I'm one of the few people, because I see it happening. I see all the other cars cutting off the car in the left lane, because if you're in the right lane of the circle, you only have about 10 feet after the circle to either get on the highway or cut off someone to get in the left lane. So when I go to the gym, I get on the highway. So I go down that lane, and, you know, I go pretty quickly down the lane because I know I'm getting on the highway. I know I'm not cutting someone off because I'm not going that way. But I'm able to read and pick up on the energy of the people that are in that lane that think I'm about to cut them off. And it took me a while to realize that that's what I was picking up on, because I would go and I would be about to get on the highway and I'd get this like sick feeling, like it was just like energy was like being thrown at me. And I started to pick up on, it's because the people think I'm going to cut them off. And I'm picking up on that. So I started to kind of make it a point to look over to see if the energy that I'm picking up on matches the person's face in the car. And every single time, I've gotten a couple times where someone was flipping me off because they thought I was about to cut them off, because I was going quickly down that lane, but I was going quickly down the lane because I was getting on the highway, right? So it got me to really thinking, and now is where this starts to make sense of why I'm talking about this. How often do we let our energy or our mood drop because of a perceived inconvenience, right? So if I'm someone that's in the car, right, and I'm putting myself in their shoes, I'm someone that thinks I'm about to get cut off. And let's take, for example, the person that gave me the finger, because I know that they were mad because they gave me the finger. And I could see that after I kept going, they were confused. It's almost like they didn't know if I just decided to not go in the lane because they gave me the finger or if I just wasn't going that way. Anyway, it made me think of how we so often get so worked up or so angry over a perceived inconvenience or a perceived you're rude, right? And I get this my whole life a lot because being neurodivergent, people often read my energy as rude when it was just socially inept. So this really got me thinking deeply over the last couple of days, and I wanted to share it because I know that I've also done it myself as well, where you think somebody's about to do something or you perceive something in a way that you let it ruin the rest of your day. So for example, if I'm someone that's in that left lane that thinks I'm about to get cut off, I can get mad at that person, and then if that person doesn't cut me off, I now have a choice. Am I going to accept that I misread that and that I wasn't about to get cut off in the first place because that person was going on the highway? Or am I going to let myself fester in this negative energy all day and say that person was going to cut me off? I gave them the finger and scared them away and they went on the highway instead. Because it can go both ways. Your mind is what's in control of what you choose to focus on. So as I'm looking over at these cars, because I wanted to see if I was reading this correctly, every time I look over, I would kind of slow down before it is, so it's like two straight lines and then it starts to turn into like a grass triangle in the middle to separate them, and one goes this way and one continues to go straight. So I started to kind of slow down before I went past like the grass area so I could look over and see, and almost every time it's like this. And I mean, I can read faces and energy very well because I've been doing it for a very long time. So it's weird because it's this confused, am I still mad? Like, am I still mad knowing that this person is now not cutting me off? Because I would see me not cut someone off because I wasn't going that way, but then I'd see the person behind me cut off the person behind them. So it's not like people are wrong, but what I'm pointing out is you have the choice. Am I just going to let that go? Or am I going to let this perceived inconvenience that didn't even turn out to actually be an inconvenience ruin my mood and how I approach others for the rest of the day? Which brings me to this. I'm working this into the blueprint. It's part of the blueprint, but I'm not sure where to actually put it in yet. So I figured I would kind of just introduce it in a little bit right now. I believe that how it's said that we attract the situations and people and experiences that we need, particularly for our own path. I have this belief that we encounter people because they need exactly what our best self has to offer them, because we're meant to learn and teach from and with one another. So an example of what I mean is, let's say you have a colleague or a coworker and you guys just don't see eye to eye, okay? You have different beliefs, you have different ideas, you have different opinions about how things should be done, you clash. That person, in order to evolve, needs to learn how to use a skill that you harbor or possess. There's something that you being your best self could teach this person so that they aren't as low energy, or they aren't as negative, or they aren't as disagreeable with you. But if you aren't your best self to that person, you're not giving them the opportunity to learn that skill from you, one. And two, them not learning that skill from you allows them to continue being an inconvenience from you, as opposed to you just putting your best foot forward and you teaching that person something just through being yourself that allows them to not be an inconvenience for you. And of course, you're not doing it for that reason, right? But the result of you giving your best foot forward, or you showing your best face to someone so that they can learn from that, is what makes your personal world better. Because this person, let's say this person annoys the crap out of me. They always talk before I've had my coffee at work, and they always gossip, and I just don't like them, right? I can show them a very negative, standoffish version of myself and stoop down to a level of who I am not to meet their energy just to get them out of my face. Or I can show them the best version of myself, the side that says, I don't really want to hear about gossip. Let's talk about ideas. The side that says, I don't really want to argue. Can we find a way to discuss this as equal coworkers? Something like that. You are showing them by example the best version of yourself. They're picking up on those abilities or mannerisms, and hence they're not going to approach you from that same lower energy, because you've showed them, I'm not going to go down. You can come up and meet me up here, or we can just be separate and you can keep looking up to where I am. That's how you make your individual world better, by being the best version of yourself, even to those who might not necessarily deserve the best version of you. Because you not being the best version of you sets the platform to them of, this person will stoop down to my level and give me that validation when I need it. When I need to feel not alone in my negativity, I know I can knock on this person's door and they'll climb down the steps to meet me there. That stops being an option when you stop climbing down. When you stop saying, I'm going to meet you at your energy level, and start saying, you can come at me with whatever energy you want, but you're not going to change what I export. I'm going to continue to give you the best version of myself, because then I don't feel bad about how I acted or reacted, one. Two, I'm encouraging you to rise up and make my environment better. Because let's say this is a coworker. What, are you going to quit your job because you don't like a coworker? I mean, if you are, okay, more power to you. But most of us don't have that option. So you're stuck for X amount of years with this coworker. If you just keep meeting them down at their level, guess what's going to happen? You're just going to get lower and lower and lower and lower. But if that person tries to stoop lower and you remain at that same height or even higher and encourage them to rise up to meet you there, guess what's going to happen over those years? Instead of getting lower, it's either going to at least remain about the same or even improve. All because that person is placed on your particular path and you on theirs for a mirrored effect, because we are all one consciousness broken into a bunch of little droplets. So that person has aligned with your path at this particular time for a reason. You are meant to teach them something that they need for their evolution, and vice versa, because it's a mirror. So you're meant to look at each relationship as, okay, this person needs work on this, okay? They need to be a little bit more, they need to listen a little bit more to other people's ideas. So I am good at that, and I can lead by just the example of being in that energy and not stooping down, because this person needs a lesson in order to understand this, why it's important to listen to others. This person needs a lesson that unfolds naturally in order to see a real life example of why it's important to listen to others. If you just continue to be your best self, knowing that you listen to others with good intention, it will teach that person by example to rise up to that energy. If you stoop down and say, I'm not going to listen to you because you don't listen to other people, or I'm going to stoop down to your level because I don't feel like putting in the energy or effort of trying to help you grow, you are going to lose that opportunity that you were meant to get out of that mirrored relationship. So this person needed to learn to listen to others. Maybe you needed to learn a little bit of patience when someone doesn't immediately see things the way that you see them. Maybe that's what you were meant to learn. But if you stoop down, not only do you not learn that, but the other person doesn't learn that, they continue pissing you off and being annoying for the entire duration of your relationship, and neither of you learn that lesson that was meant to come out of that. You will find a repetition of that particular character in your life again, over and over and over, until you learn that lesson. Because it's not about the person. It's not about, I need to defeat this person. It's about the lesson. I'm meant to learn patience. This person is my teacher of patience. If I refuse to even open the door to try and learn that lesson, this person will disappear and someone else will replace them with the same purpose of teaching me that lesson of patience. I just wanted to share that. I thought it was important. Talk to you soon.